Bitcoin once again is finally over 100K, right? And I'm super excited, even though I sold today. I'm gonna explain to you guys why I sold today, exactly what I sold, because this will give you guys a better understanding of how I personally look at these charts when it comes to short-term fluctuations. Good learning opportunity, at least for my own strategy, and then how am I approaching this going forward, right? So what I sold today was the short-term small Bitcoin accumulations that I kept recommending, not advising, I kept recommending a lot of people over the last few videos to take advantage of accumulating small amounts of Bitcoin exposure, in my own opinion, because until we have bearish confirmation of the price breaking below 93K, then we do not want to push away the possibility of the price being able to max out this green area. We've seen these green areas max out many, many times. I kept giving this as an example where we have enough momentum break into it, and then eventually we, after consolidating for a bit but still holding a higher low structure, we end up hitting it before a proper retracement. But here's the thing. What I sold today was those small amounts of Bitcoin I kept recommending a lot of you guys to accumulate as well. And I still have my little bit more of a long-term swing trade for Bitcoin still in play. I'm going to show you guys a screenshot. It's a portfolio. It's worth a little bit over 100K. It is mostly exposed to Bitcoin, and then a small amount of it is in cash to take advantage of any future opportunities. So so I am not out of Bitcoin, and there's no way I'm gonna get completely out of Bitcoin until this thing is much, much higher. We're not even halfway through the year. We're getting close, and we're still so far away from the rest of this year ending. So why would I want to be completely out of Bitcoin? That's nonsense. But what I'm going to tell you guys now is, for those of you, we're going to go over the structure, but for those of you that were taking advantage of small amounts of Bitcoin with a tight stop loss to protect yourself, but those of you that took advantage of accumulating small amounts of Bitcoin, especially when we were still above this box right here, and I kept saying the moment we break into this box, this is an imbalance. It's highly probable that we can stay above the 120 moving average, and then try to attempt to max out the green area, and we did. And during this time, now I'm gonna explain to you guys why I sold my Bitcoin, my short-term Bitcoin, for trading, and how am I approaching this going forward, right? So there's a lot of hype right now. Like Trump saying to buy a lot of these assets. A lot of articles saying like Bitcoin's back at 100K, back at 100K since January, and then just a lot of positive news. Standard Chartered analysts apologizes for 120K Bitcoin price call. All right, that's a weird article, but there's a lot of bullishness and a lot of FOMO kicking in, and I don't like to be one of those few many traders that see don't want to buy. They're scared to buy when it's down here, when it's still holding the support line, and now they're buying when it's all the way up here. Now when it's very much overextended and it's above all of these structures, it's just, I am not that kind of person that buys when it's high. I made my money. I sold, locked it in a little bit over 6% on the trade I sold, and I'm still holding on to the long term Bitcoin I plan to hold for the rest of the year. But here's the thing, right? I updated this retracement area. Now we're much higher. We're still overlapping with this imbalance right here, and a little bit of the one back here. So that's still very significant to say. But now we need to understand. We need to understand how this structure is most likely potentially going to evolve due to the aggressive uptrend we've been seeing since what is that, late April? No, since early April, when we had the third final dip. And I'm going to keep comparing this to the time back here where we had three deep value dips, and then we started pushing up much, much higher. Although it's a little bit different now because we never filled in this extension area. Instead, we had that retracement earlier rather than filling this blue and then having a retracement. So it's a little bit different, but I do believe we're in a very similar structure where we are looking to now balance the price out soon, and then from there rally up much higher and potentially bringing us to like 130, 140K Bitcoin potentially. So how I'm approaching this when it comes to both my primary portfolio and the short-term portfolio is, again, I'd rather explain to you guys what I'm going to do than giving you guys a bunch of different scenarios. but the RSI is very much overextended. Okay, we maxed out the green fib extension area. Okay, so the price is very much now overextended. I have no more roofs for this. We could look at Bitcoin liquidation heat maps. That can give us a good eye, or whatever you want to call it, to have an eye on where how high we can really keep going. But I am not comfortable accumulating any more short-term Bitcoin at these levels. That's just trading with hope. That's trading with the FOMO. That's trading, that's buying high instead of buying low. So I really, really don't want to do that. So what I'm going to plan on doing is that all of these small imbalances right here. So we have, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here. It looks, this one shows a little bit more on the 4-hour chart, and then there's the one back here. So all of these areas I just pointed, all of these imbalance areas, I want to accumulate roughly maybe $5,000 to $10,000 worth of a Bitcoin ETF every time we hit those into my primary portfolio. When it comes to the short term Bitcoin, I do not want to, I still really like the idea of Bitcoin having a proper retracement. So I updated this area in red, maxed it out to the top so you guys can have a better idea. Now the top 0.35 is at 93.7K. So this is overlapping very, very well with the support line we have right here. It does not mean it's going to hold. I would actually like to see the price come down and even just briefly break below 90K, or just anywhere in this area is where I want to start accumulating my short-term Bitcoin for short-term trading. So I want to take advantage of these imbalance areas and accumulate, because even though Bitcoin is just over 102K, I believe this is still very, very early, and we still have at least 30% more upside to go at a bare minimum. So I want to accumulate on that primary portfolio, and those are my buy points. All of these imbalances, I'll just keep buying and hitting the buy button on all of those. For short-term trading though, there's too much, FOMO still a thing, so I don't want to overexpose myself to any potential support lines that can, that can easily not hold, or they can just bounce up like crazy. So what I plan on doing is I do not want to buy any um, short-term trading Bitcoin exposure unless the price is in this red area. If it keeps going higher, cool. The primary portfolio will appreciate, and I'll keep following the price higher with this area. I do not want to buy unless it's in this area for short-term trading, and it's as simple as that. That's how I'm approaching this. I tend to repeat myself a lot, but you know, instead of making this video like a minute long, I'd rather show you guys a little bit more. But that's what I plan on doing. It's as simple as that. I believe we're gonna have that little bit of consolidation correction phase, like in the structure I showed you guys previously, and then from there we'll go up much higher and reach like 130, 140K, probably even 150K. But the thing is, that can take it can take a little bit of time. Even though there's a lot of FOMO and it looks like everyone forgot about all of this, and we're much higher now, and everyone's just like in this crazy like positive mindset. That positive mindset can be crushed the moment Bitcoin decides to retrace before it can go much higher. So I'm just not going to fall into the FOMO or into the hype. It's as simple as that, guys. I am buying short-term trading Bitcoin exposure when it's in this red area. Until it reaches this red area, I am going to keep adding to my primary portfolio every time Bitcoin reaches a imbalance area. So there's plenty of buying opportunities here, and I don't plan to sell any of those Bitcoin until we're much later in this year and the price is much higher. So yeah, guys, that's how I'm approaching Bitcoin. That's how I'm reducing risk and not falling into the FOMO and the hype aspect of trading Bitcoin. I understand that no matter how remember when we were up here, like things are super bullish, or even here, like things we were like just about 108K or just over 108K, something like that, and then we had a big retracement, and everyone's like freaking out after being super positive, and then next thing you know, we go much higher, and everyone forgot all about this, and then they're back in that super positive mood, and then next thing you know, this happened, and then well, I don't think new terrorist stuff is going to happen, but because it looks like there's already progress being made. But a proper retracement is very, very much possible still, in my opinion. And I don't want to invalidate the potential of having a proper correction because we're still well below all-time high. In the short term, we're overextended, and we can easily see a little bit of consolidation before we go much higher. So again, guys, I plan to keep accumulating for my multi-month long swing trade portfolio, primary portfolio. At every time the price reaches these imbalances, I'll be adding 5 to 10K dollars worth of Bitcoin ETFs at a time, and then I plan to accumulate short-term Bitcoin exposure in this red area. And again, guys, that's how I'm approaching it. Hopefully, this video made sense, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.